There are Jezebel spirits, and they attack the anointed individuals because they need to place you under contract. And these contracts, you hear people say they're dark, they're blood contracts. And maybe some people don't feel as though they are dark, but they are, because they're a total contrast, right, to heaven's blood. There's no comparison between the two, because one is redemption and the other is possession. One is liberation, sets you free, and the other ties you to obligation. One is voluntary, you're not forced, but the other is predatory. A little different, but they want you to believe that it's all voluntary, but it's voluntary under duress. The type of blood that covers truly gifted and anointed individuals break chains. The other manufactures the chains. Now, the blood of Jesus is not a transaction. It is restoration, and it reconnects you to God's covering, God's protection, God's guidance, God's identity for you, and God's authority through you. It reverses generational residue. It shuts down accusations, and it gives you a legal standing in the spirit. It is freely given. No one forces you into it. No one has to trick you or try to trick you into it. And no one has to drain you for it. This blood covers, it does not consume you. It redeems, it does not demand repayment. It also seals, it doesn't enslave. Blood contracts within dark systems operate on the opposite principle. They need consent, but they gain it through deception. Through deception, they wait for you to be in desperate situations when you're lonely so they can seduce you, and you feel all alone with no support. So it will prey on your fear, because they promise you elevation. They deliver you. This blood delivers you into bondage. This blood promises you power, but instead, you're constantly monitored. They promise you influence, but then they deliver you into ownership. They promise you the fast track, acceleration, but yet they still deliver you a collapse, early ending. Dark contracts are always conditional. Give me loyalty, give me obedience, give me access to your gifts and talents. Show me where your power lies. Give me control over your outcome. Show me what I need to do. Give me a piece of you so my kingdom, can use you. And they don't just want your agreement, they want your dependence as well. Because dependence ensures renewal, and renewal ensures dominion. Because if you're dependent on a system, they don't feel as though they'll have a hard time convincing you to sign another contract. They won't lose you. So they don't lift you up, they extract from you. And where the blood of Jesus restores your identity, dark contracts erase identity, and they replace it with your assignment. Blood contracts of darkness demand life. One pours out life for you, the other drains life from you. One strengthens your soul, the other fragments it. Drive you crazy, keep you in a state of confusion, continual stressful events, continuous, non-stop, problem, stress, problem, worry. One will free your voice, and the other will hijack it. One will heal the wounds of your lineage, the other deepens those wounds. One brings you back home, the other binds you to a spiritual landlord who charges interest. Dark systems require maintenance. God's covering does not. Dark contracts must be fed. The blood of Jesus does not need refills. Dark pacts break you down over time, but the blood restores you over time. Dark contracts create fear of punishment. The blood removes condemnation. Dark contracts operate on take, but the blood of Jesus operates on giving. Where darkness must work to hold you, the blood keeps you because you're chosen. Blood contracts of darkness use you. Dark systems don't see people, they see resources. God sees sons and daughters, not tools. Dark realms say, prove your worth. God says, you were worthy before you were wounded, before you went to jail, before you had children out of wedlock, before you moved into the dark side and did things you never imagined. Because dark forces police your destiny, God protects it. So dark pacts want access to your potential. They come with a lot of questions and monitoring, but the blood reveals the purpose behind it. Dark contracts bind you to territories, bind you to principalities over the territory that you live in or work in. The blood assigns you to purpose. And why can't the two mix? Because, see, these bloods, one, they operate under two different separate spiritual laws. Heaven's blood operates by love, freedom, covenant, and identity. Dark, the blood of darkness, operates by fear, exploitation, and dependency. One requires surrender of your ego, the other requires surrender of self. Heaven just wants you to surrender your ego so you could be teachable, humble. But the blood of darkness, they want you to surrender all of who you are to them. And everything that you are is in your mind, will, and emotions. They want your soul. So one makes you whole and the other requires that you break. Heaven's blood, the blood of Jesus, give you authority to walk in your calling. See, the other steals authority in order to fuel its own agenda. And how does it steal your authority if the authority comes with your gifts? Because it begins to tamper with your mind, will, and emotions. It moves your spirit into where it wants you to go. It wants you palatable, flexible, right? So you're easy to manipulate because they need you to fuel its agenda, and their agenda will be more impactful on the dark side if you are anointed. But you can't serve both because one protects your destiny and the other attempts to rewrite it. Disregard what heaven says. That's not real. That's what some book told you. Nobody want to hear that. But the blood of Jesus restores what belongs to you. Blood contracts of darkness attempts to claim ownership over what does not belong to them. There are two realms that use blood, but their intentions are opposite. One offers life and the other seeks leverage. Dark contracts do not seek to restore you, they just want access. They want a doorway into your potential so they can redirect it toward their agenda. And the blood of Jesus restores identity and it heals your lineage and returns you to your rightful spiritual standing. This is why the chosen feel tugged at from a young age, because two realms know your value, but only one wants you free. The blood of Jesus covers you. It shields, protects, guides, and preserves. But the dark contracts do the opposite. They claim you. They seek ownership of your steps, your influence, your impact, and your reach. Where God says, you are mine because I love you, the dark system says, you are mine because I marked you. They need for you, and I'm not speaking about the womb, which I spoke about earlier. I did another video. But for the sake of this video, this dark system needs to see something in you that is recognizable to the darkness and principalities of this world. So one gives you your true identity, but the other wants to replace it, give you a whole nother name. See, heaven never forces you. The blood is received through free will. But dark contracts cannot operate on free will. They rely on your temptation, your manipulation, your desperation, your seduction, your trauma, and your fear. So they corner you into choices that look harmless, but carry hidden agendas, hidden bondage. Where God waits for our yes, darkness tries to steal it. Heaven redeems, darkness obligates. The blood of Jesus cleans our lineage. It lifts generational residue. And so it restores what was stolen from the lineage through the anointed individual in the family line. But if that individual makes a contract with darkness, it will bind you and your whole lineage to spiritual debt. There is always a cost, always renewal, always repayment. They cannot bless, they only bargain. And every bargain carries a trap. The blood of Jesus pours life into you. Dark contracts pull life out of you. One increases your spiritual stamina, the other drains it. So one strengthens your purpose, the other confines it. One makes you whole, the other fragments you piece by piece until you rely on them to feel functional. Dark systems feed on your exhaustion. Heaven restores what exhaustion stole. The blood of Jesus restores who you truly are, your calling, your gifting, your spiritual assignment. But dark contracts, they work to rewrite you. They silence your intuition. They distort your perception of yourself. They mute your spiritual sensitivity and they suppress your purpose. You can't walk fully in your purpose on the dark side, but they can use your gifts and talents to further their agenda. Because if they can rewrite your sense of who you are, they can redirect where you're going. Heaven reveals our identity. Darkness will edit it. You're not really a prophet. That's not being empathic. That's just like being sensitive. Everyone has it, right? You can't heal your hands, but you feel that warmth. You feel in your hands that mind to know how to use herbs to heal, right? To become a herbalist or a doctor of, what is it? Is it orthopathy? You'll correct me in the comments. See, you must check in with them. You must filter everything through them and you must remain accessible to them. The blood gives you freedom. Dark contracts take it. The blood of Jesus gives you permanent authority, authority that does not expire, authority to rebuke interference, to break cycles, to overturn spiritual charges, and walk into your assignment untouched. Dark contracts offer temporary advantage, quick elevation, fast opportunities, access to environments, and relationships that appear beneficial. But every dark advantage ends in collapse. There is no stability in stolen spiritual access. Temporary gain never outweighs eternal cost. The blood of Jesus frees you, dark contracts bind you. One is about restoration, the other is about control. One gives you wings to fly, the other clips them. One breaks every chain placed down on your lineage, the other manufactures new chains disguised as blessings. And when the chosen awaken, when they recognize what's pulling at them, every dark claim begins to dissolve. Because no contract of darkness can outrule the covering God placed on your life before you were born. Yes, you were born different, but you are to grow into what you carry. But you didn't receive it later in life. You grew into it, and it has always been there. And because of that, your life has not been regular. You don't walk through life the way others do. You walk with a weight on your spirit, and it is not the kind that breaks you. It is the kind that lets you feel the truth before it's spoken. You have instant knowing. You feel what's unspoken, you detect what's hidden, you can sense the atmosphere, and you can read a room without even thinking. And that is by design. So you were shaped to be a steward of insight and light. You are not supposed to be surprised by what others miss. Your spirit catches disruptions before they appear in the natural. You were never meant to be caught unaware. You were meant to be ready, because that readiness has saved you from situations people will never understand. The enemy never comes alone. He comes back by designs and networks. You may believe you're signing a dark contract with one person, and he comes through patterns, through environments, and through organized forces that move quietly but strategically against those who carry divine assignment. If you are covered under the blood, you are not uncovered in any realm, not mental, emotional, spiritual, generational, or environmental. The enemy only succeeds where the covering is ignored. And sometimes we can begin to ignore our covering over hurt, betrayal, failure of support, being let down. What most anointed individuals don't fully grasp at first is the enemy doesn't attack you randomly. He attacks you through systems that already exist. Distraction, seduction, sabotage, deception, oppression, pressure, exhaustion, and systems of influence. Nothing he does is improvised. Nothing he does is spontaneous. And nothing he does is accidental. He studies, he waits, he recruits, he gathers, he cycles, he returns. But this is where the anointed carry an advantage that cannot be stolen. He cannot override a life that stays under the blood. He cannot outmaneuver it. He can't imitate it. He can't counterfeit it. And he can't compete with it. Covering is not symbolic. It is protective law as applied to the anointed, the chosen individuals, the spiritual powerhouses of lineages. It is spiritual jurisdiction. It is divine authority that determines what can and cannot touch you. And see, the enemy's greatest trick isn't attacking you. It's convincing you that you are not covered. You were left. You were abandoned. You were isolated, and make you believe that your battles were unprotected. Convince you that your calling abandoned you, and that gift you have, it isolates you. You can't do what everyone else does. Do you really want that? I can use that gift, and you can have so much fun. You can be the life of the party, right? Because the demonic world knows that your gift is priceless. So they'll ultimately hit you with God left you. Then you will step out of the covering that was shielding you the entire time. That's why this message is simple, but the depth of it is eternal. Don't be fooled. Don't romanticize attacks. Don't normalize warfare. Don't assume your discernment is paranoia. And don't you dare think you're walking unguarded. You were never meant to live uncovered. The blood is the boundary, the barrier, the contract, the defense, and it is the mark that hell cannot cross. Every anointed life is targeted, but every anointed life is protected. The enemy may mobilize systems, but God seals his own. And when God seals you, it doesn't matter who organizes against you. Their strategy collapses against his covering. They don't want you to stay under the blood, stay in position, remain aware. They need to fool you. And there's something you need to understand right now, not later, not someday, not when you're comfortable enough to hear it. Many of you may not be comfortable, because there was a time I was walking away too. I said, the heck with all these gifts. If it's not blessing me, I felt I wasn't blessed. I was losing after battle. I just thought, no, I ain't getting into that. The enemy never attacks the anointed without using systems. He doesn't come at you outright. He doesn't announce himself. He doesn't introduce his intentions. He moves through patterns. He moves through agreements. He moves through organized pressure designed to tire you out, overwhelm you, confuse you, and separate you from your covering. But hear me clearly. If you stay under the blood, you cannot be overtaken. If you feel pressure, you may feel pressure, but you will not be claimed. And you may feel surrounded, but you are not seized. Don't be fooled by what it looks like. The covering is stronger than the attack. The enemy uses systems because he can't overpower the anointed one-on-one. He has to multiply himself. He has to recruit. He has to whisper. He has to download orders to principles and principalities. He has to gather others to carry out what he cannot do alone. So he works through you. He works through people who are vulnerable, spaces that are unguarded, environments where jealousy is normal, circles that thrive on competition, settings where dishonor is accepted. Everything he does is organized. Everything he does is intentional, and everything he does is layered. But here's a revelation I need you to get. Every system formed against you is already limited by your covering. They can plan, but they cannot prevail. They can gather, but they cannot overturn divine protection. When you are covered under the blood, you carry a seal that the enemy can see, even when you can't. Read the book of Job. The devil knew, Satan knew he was covered, so he asked God, if you just remove that hedge from around him, I can convince him to worship me and curse you. Sometimes that's what we experience in life. God said, she's supposed to be so anointed. Move that hedge. Let me start removing everything she depends on. And I'm going to show you she'll curse you. You walk into a room and atmospheres shift. You speak and unseen realms respond. You move and it disrupts patterns the enemy spent months building. This is why some people get irritated in your presence, loves, without reason. This is why environments try to push you out. And this is why certain individuals suddenly dislike you, fear you, or feel threatened by you. They are not reacting to you. They're reacting to the God in you. They're reacting to what covers you. And the enemy recognizes your seal even before you fully understand it. So what does the enemy do? He doesn't just attack your life. He attacks your interpretation of your life. If he can distort what you see, he can weaken how you respond. If he can convince you that you're uncovered, you'll start acting uncovered. That was a word. Y'all have to admit, that was a word. You'll move without direction. You'll trust without caution. You'll enter spaces without prayer. You'll treat your assignment like it's optional, and you'll forget who walks with you. That's why confusion is one of his strongest attacks from the dark side, because it's easier to distract an anointed person who doubts their own covering. Let's be honest. Not everyone gets this level of resistance. You are targeted because you carry weight. You are targeted because your presence disrupts the wrong kingdom. You are targeted because you carry influence you didn't ask for. You are targeted because you come from a lineage hell could never defeat. Some of you are wondering, why me? Why does it feel like everything always knows my name? Because you carry something he can't counterfeit. You carry purpose, assignment, divine backing, favor, recovery, and release. Hell doesn't hunt the empty, it hunts the chosen. Every chosen life attracts systems that is built for sabotage. Some of these systems look like unhealthy family patterns, gossip networks, manipulative leadership, toxic workplaces, circles that drain instead of uplift, people who monitor you, individuals who envy you, and relationships built on extracting from you. These systems are designed for one mission: to overload you until you step out of your covering. Y'all know that was a word. Y'all better holler now. But not because they can overpower you, but because they need you to abandon what keeps you protected, what keeps your babies protected. They want you to pray and tell you, wrong road, baby. You're mine. God ain't gonna hear you. The enemy doesn't just want you tired. He wants you convinced you are alone. So he whispers, no one understands you like me. No one is with you. No one sees you. You are unprotected, you are uncovered, and you are forgotten. Why? Because once you believe that, you begin to distance yourself from the very covering that sustains you. The enemy knows he cannot reach you directly, so he tries to separate you from the covering that withstands him. But the truth is, the covering is there even when the attack is loud, the room is heavy, and the pressure is on. When you are under the blood, you are not just protected, you are marked. You operate under divine jurisdiction. Some of you may have children who just do their own thing, break your heart from time to time. And someone in the street may think they're uncovered. And then they mess with your babies and you show up. There are limits placed on what can access you and your babies and your lineage. There are limits on what can influence you. There are limits on what can cling to you. The enemy can observe you. He can attempt to intimidate you. He can try to distract you, but he cannot claim what God has sealed. This is why attacks fail at the last second. This is why sabotage collapses unexpectedly. And this is why plots fall apart before impact. Heaven does not allow creations of the enemy to overrule his chosen. Many anointed individuals think something is wrong with them during warfare. So you start believing, well, I'm not doing, or I'm doing something wrong. God must be punishing me. You have individuals around you saying maybe you did something. What did you do? Maybe it's your karma. And you believe that your gift brought you trouble, your calling ruined your life, and maybe you start second guess whether you are chosen after all. But no, you're not misunderstood. You are marked. You're not broken. You are protected. You are not forgotten. You are guarded. Your warfare is not a sign of abandonment. It's proof that your covering is active. If you were uncovered, the enemy wouldn't just try, he would succeed. But he hasn't, and he won't. The enemy doesn't need to destroy you. He needs you to abandon your position. Hell needs help. That's why he uses exhaustion and triggers and frustration and loneliness, betrayal, disappointment, delayed promises, confusion, and spiritual fatigue, and the list goes on. He wants you to walk away from the covering that keeps you unstoppable. The trap is psychological, the warfare is emotional, but the battle is internal. But the protection is spiritual, and spiritual protection cannot be broken by emotional fatigue. Thank you for visiting my channel. Stay covered, stay connected, stay submitted, and stay grounded. One more thing. The enemy's system may be organized, but God's covering is sovereign. So the enemy can plan, but God can interrupt. The enemy can whisper, but God can expose. The enemy can recruit, but God can scatter. The enemy can attempt, but God can override. The covering doesn't prevent the attack, it prevents the outcome. And there is the difference. So don't be fooled. Don't let pressure make you forget who you belong to. Don't let the exhaustion make you believe you're walking uncovered. And don't let attacks trick you into thinking you're unguarded. You are covered. And not casually, not symbolically, not temporarily. You are covered eternally, legally, and divinely. The enemy works through systems. And God works through covering. And covering always wins. Stay covered, stay